talking. But other than that, I thought it was a good time. It was good.
Cool. All right, then let's move on to Sony's conference. But first, Nick wants to take a piss, so we'll do that.
Right, I'll be 2 seconds, guys.
I'm going to leave that in the podcast, by the way. What's up, guys, and welcome to Podcast Reload. It's the General Gaming Podcast by Sifted.net subscribers, where we invite community guests onto the show to talk about the games industry in all its weird ways. I am your host, Vin Hill, and joining me, as always, is, of course, my co-host and fellow Japan dweller, Evan Piotrowski.
Hey, Sifters.
Hey, Sifters. And joining us is our community guest from Sifted.net, and this week is the Impartialist again, a.k.a. Nick. Just Nick. Jesus.
I think that's a show starring Clive Owen.
Maybe it is. Clive Owen on the show, everybody. Say hello, Nick.
Surprise!
That's it. I don't even
Just
know
say
what
hello.
to say to that.
You are the
Hello.
You are the Nick. Yeah.
The Nick.
I am the only
the
Nick.
one and only.
The only Nick.
Apparently.
But yeah, this week we're actually carrying on with what we were talking about last week, and we're just going to continue on with our conference talks. Well, not last week. It was probably the last episode. I'm not actually sure when this one's going up. But we're going to continue on and carry on to talk about E3 2016. So yeah, moving on, we're going to talk about Ubisoft's conference. Ubisoft obviously had a lot of blowouts this year. It wasn't really, they didn't really show much new. I think the only new game that they actually showed was Steep, but all their games that they showed, it was just 10-minute blowout for this, 10-minute blowout for that, 10-minute blowout for this, just over and over again sort of thing. But how do you guys feel about it? Like you, Evan, like you were watching Ubisoft conference a bit tired at the time, but like from between your little naps, what do you think about it?
Yeah, I think it took like 3 naps, small naps, and then Dyson XP called me out in the chat, and I was like, "Oh shit, I gotta wake up."
Yeah.
It's weird. I thought it was good. But like every game they showed is like things that I've never played before.
Yeah.
Like you have, Grow Home, never played it. The Trials game, never played it. Division updates, never played Division. The South Stick of Truth, I never played that. Watch Dogs, I never played that. So
yeah,
it's a bit like some of this stuff looks cool. Actually, I just bought on a sale. I bought Watch Dogs and the Stick of Truth, so I will have
catch up a little bit.
Catch up a little bit. But overall, yeah, it was just like we all know what is going to be shown. They're just gonna, like you said, they just blow out everything. So I don't know. I thought it was a pretty good presser. I mean, Aisha Tyler, she does a bang up job.
Oh yeah, she fucking nails it every year. Like when she first started doing it, people were joking, saying, "Oh yeah, non-gamer celebrity on stage." Like yeah, whatever. But like, she's got a fucking great personality. When she does it, she nails it. Like
she doesn't have to come back, right? So obviously she must like the gig or
she
need
must
money.
like it. I mean, just like how she was joking about the leaks and stuff like that, just cracking jokes at it and stuff. Like she's probably one of the only celebrities at E3 that actually does stuff right.
Right, and she's an outsider from Ubisoft, so like it's okay. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, definitely. But yeah, how about you, Nick? What did you think about the conference overall?
I thought it was really good. I think Ubisoft are one of the best when it comes to making it feel like a show. I think they've definitely had like growing pains in trying to accomplish that in the past, but I think they nailed it this year.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. But yeah, I think they nailed it.
Mr. Caffeine.
Yeah, Mr. Caffeine. Oh, no. But that's it. Aisha Tyler does a great job. The opening with a dance number was hilarious. But I found that I didn't.
It's kind of weird.
I didn't like that.
It's kind of weird.
It was weird.
That was the only part of the conference I hated.
But that's it, though. Like it was weird and silly and kind of pointless. But I was
exactly.
The thing is, I was in stitches the entire time, which made it entertaining because I was actually just laughing at it.
The thing was, like, me and Evan were there at like 5 a.m. Like, we got up for this fucking presser, and that's the thing that greets us. Is this?
We didn't even get up for the presser. We had been up.
Oh yeah, you're right.
All night. It was 6 a.m. We stayed up the entire time I had been up since 5 the previous day, so I was already past the 24-hour point, and then this happened, and we just looked at each other like, is this like some sort of weird fever dream, or is this actually happening?
But yeah, with that, obviously, Just Dance was obviously announced. Just Dance 2017, I'm sure, iteration every single year. But yeah, even like there was a guy at my office which I saw on Thursday, and he worked on the Just Dance games before he came to our studio, and he just looked at me and he was like, I have no fucking idea what that opening was about. It's like, yeah, man, it's pretty crazy. But yeah, I mean, that was announced. That's cool for fans who are into Just Dance. I am not. I'm sure both of you boys aren't either.
No.
I'm not.
Good. Right. Moving on. Obviously, they started out, I think they might have started out with either Watch Dogs or Wildlands, but we'll talk about Wildlands first. Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Wildlands. That's a mouthful. Don't try and say that 10 times fast. Massive blowout, obviously. They showed pretty much a whole mission from the game with the 4 players working as a team, flanking, going around and going through a mission. Like, what did you guys think about it, like, impressions-wise? Nick, we'll start with you, man. What did you think about it?
I really liked it. I've liked every single Ghost Recon game, and this game is just giving me exactly what I want from a modern Ghost Recon game. All I've been waiting to see is like what it will be like playing with my friends, and although it was extremely rehearsed and it was just noticeably fake.
Oh, they always are. Demonstrations.
Yeah. However, like the content of what they showed is exactly what I wanted to see. So I thought I really liked it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
which would be my main
worry
worry
that I've got about the game is it
rather
might be a
play
bit
it by
too
myself,
co-op
but is that even
centric,
possible?
Focused.
Sure.
Because, like, if you play the game by yourself, sort of thing, is it going to be as fun? That's my only worry.
That's
But other than that, I mean,
But actually,
the game looked great.
you guys like this needs to really stop, and this goes back to Sea of Thieves as well.
Yeah, exactly.
This
That would be the real
pre-recorded,
question. But obviously we'll see.
fake
in
is
the
all
coming
hell
months, I think.
banter needs to stop.
Yeah,
because
we've probably got a lot more
it's
coming from that,
insulting. It's insulting to the consumer because it never happens.
Right. Oh yeah, that needs to stop.
I wonder.
So in the Sea of Thieves demo though, it felt real, and I actually think it was real. Like that felt like
I don't know.
That felt like they did invite people, probably YouTubers, but it felt like they genuinely invited people to come and have fun with the game, and they recorded it and then edited
I mean, you
that.
can tell if it's real or fake.
However,
and I think the Sea of Thieves stuff probably was
Ghost
real,
Recon Wildlands though just sounded like it was the voice actors from the game. Like that's what it sounded like.
Yeah, I mean, Ubisoft have got a reputation for this. They did it with the Division when they were first showing that off. It was always like the same 3 or 4 people.
I really liked that
just
though.
talking like as if they were like playing the game. It's awful. It's terrible.
Yeah.
But they have to show it. I mean, they're trying to show the social aspect of the game without bringing outsiders in to play it. Like that's the best way you can do it is just hire a couple of voice actors to, do it that way, or a couple of developers.
See, I don't like that because it's disingenuous.
Yeah, no, you're right. I agree with that completely.
It's like, well, if this is supposed to be some sort of simulation of what it's going to be like for me, then this is totally not happening because I've never had that conversation in my entire life with my friends online, and I'm never going to talk like that either. So just bring some people on and just have them have it be like a normal game, or at least try a little bit harder to make it seem like it's natural. I don't know. Actually, it's not that big of a deal, but it's just one of those things that stood out to me.
Yeah, it automatically like turns that switch on your head when you're watching the conference. Like, yeah, this feels fake, so maybe the game's a bit fake. Like I don't.
Yeah,
like that.
So it takes away from the showing a bit, but
no.
I mean,
It's
for me,
concern.
to get kind of a pass for this scenario, just because it did mean they could show me what I wanted to see.
Right.
Sure. I get that.
Cool. So moving on, the next thing that was announced was actually Watch Dogs 2. It was announced a couple of days before, which I fucking hate when publishers show pre-E3 announcements. I despise it.
Oh, yeah.
Crawls my skin every time it happens, and I hate it when they do it. But they did it with Watch Dogs 2, which, sorry Ubisoft, I work for you, but that sucked. Stop doing it. I love E3.
Oh yeah, that's right. Disclaimer.
Yeah,
or
disclaimer.
what do they call it? Conflict of interest?
Yeah,
or,
whatever.
Yeah.
No one's listening to this anyway.
Vin works for Ubisoft. Yeah, just so you know.
No, I don't. All right, I'm joking. I do, but yeah, Watch Dogs 2 was shown. Obviously, a lot of different things, and it was interesting because they didn't show Assassin's Creed this year, but a lot of the mechanics which we normally see in Assassin's Creed was actually in Watch Dogs 2. So it's sort of a nice mixture of everything. I'm really happy to see Watch Dogs 2 make them changes, because Watch Dogs 1, while the open world was impressive and the game, it was actually a really good stab at like an open world sort of modern game like Grand Theft Auto or whatever, but it missed. I mean, that game needed parkour in it, like a proper parkour system. And the fact that Watch Dogs 2 has got that, I'm really happy about that. Like, what do you guys think about it? Nick, what do you think about Watch Dogs 2?
It looks good. It doesn't get me really excited, but I did play Watch Dogs. I liked it. I didn't love it. And what they've shown about Watch Dogs 2, they've shown that they're improving the things that I didn't like, So
yeah.
I can say that this is definitely something I'm going to pick up, but it doesn't make me really excited from what they've shown.
And then for me,
that's what I mean.
Oh,
fair enough. I mean,
sorry.
No, go on. Go ahead.
No, just I just bought Watch Dogs, so I haven't played it. And with bands, usually everyone talks about the sophomore slump, but with games, it usually the second one, or a lot of times it's better. You have Uncharted 2, Dead Space 2, definitely not Crackdown 2, but Assassin's Creed 2. So it just looks like it's probably going to be a better game.
Yeah, I mean, it's bound to happen. I mean, we've got a lot of great games which are second in the series, so maybe this one's going to be great. I'm not too sure. But saying that, Watch Dogs 1 is a good first stab. Even though people give it a hard time, it's not actually a bad game. So I'm not downplaying that game whatsoever. I'm
looking forward to playing it.
Totally.
You should. I mean, it is a great little game. Don't focus too much on the story. Just enjoy it. Don't worry about it too much, sort of thing. People overthink these things.
Sure. I agree, yeah.
But yeah, Watch Dogs 2 looks, all the new additions to obviously you can hack any car, any person in the game, the parkour additions, the new tech which is in the game. Just the whole thing looks great. I mean, I'm really excited for it. It's
Although
a lot more
one
style.
thing that yeah, definitely. One thing that Shane pointed out that no one had before, or at least from what I had heard, is I don't like the main character. Was his name Marcus?
Yeah, Marcus.
He has the name of the Hacker Association on his hat, which bothers me.
Right.
I don't see anyone walking around with anonymous hats on.
Yeah, but it's the same thing in Assassin's Creed,
whatever.
right? Like they walk around with the Assassin's logo all over them, even though they're meant to be a secret organization. So you fucking retarded.
And it's it's the only fucking the only fucking outfit that looks like that in the respective worlds. Yeah, yeah. Whatever. Who gives a shit?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. Next was actually South Park, The Fractured But Whole. Obviously, I'm a bit biased towards this because I've been working on it, but what do you guys think about it? We'll start off with Nick. What do you think about South Park?
I loved the South Park showing.
You're just saying that because I'm on here.
Oh, come on.
Come on, man.
I'm joking.
We were talking earlier about how much I value writing and how much I think comedy writing in particular is always so underrated.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what the South Park guys are just so good at.
They are.
And I mean, in a nutshell, the whole thing was just hilarious. I mean, that it's starting to, that it looked like a Watch Dogs 2 trailer when it started.
It was very clever,
I did call it right away, though. I did know that that's what was happening. Yeah. However, I didn't take away from it. It was hilarious. And then the little cutscene they showed about parodying the whole Marvel strategy in phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. It was really funny. And then the little bit of gameplay, when you're doing your guy's backstory, just the part when he's in the bedroom and Cartman's just going, whatever he says, it's like, oh, just get the fuck out the room, you arsehole, or something like that, It was just genius. It was South Park, and I thought it was really funny.
Yeah. How about you, Evan? What do you think about it?
Yeah, I think Nick said it exactly. It's South Park, and that's a good thing. And just one little thing that I like when you see it, it's like, yep, that is totally South Park, and it works. Is when it's like the first bit of gameplay when you're supposed to have the meeting, and you go up to the first chair, and Cartman's like, no, you can't sit there.
Oh.
Yeah, you can't sit there either. They gotta fuck off.
That's so good.
Yeah, they've got a lot of little things, because there's actually like a playable demo of that, and they actually missed out quite a lot in their conference. But like, if you're taking too long in a battle or something, like Cartman will start shouting like, "Hurry up, dude! This is an E3 demo" and stuff like this. Like, it's very self-aware of what it is.
Okay.
It's
just quickly, like a reason why that chair thing is so good though is because in so many other games that would have been a cutscene, like you see the guy going to sit down, and the fact that it's like gameplay and you're going up to the object and interacting with it, and then he reacts to that in such a funny way is awesome. That's really using the medium of games to deliver a narrative, which you don't see enough of.
Right. And actually, Nick, that's a really good point, because it makes you feel like you're part of a South Park episode rather than just watching it. Yeah, you're like actively part of the joke, which is like, I see that. I'm like, yep, I want to play this game. And actually, speaking of other things, because I just picked up the Stick of Truth, and I'll probably be playing it within the month, because I'll probably be playing both of these games closer than most people will be. It's nice to see that they've changed up combat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the combat is very different. That was one thing which every single time I've spoken to a fan that is a fan of South Park, and they've been like, "Oh man, I really hope like the combat's been changed." And I'm just like, "Yeah, it kind of has, but I can't talk about it." And it's like it's a lot deeper than you think it is. Like, as well, it's a lot more tactics involved. It's a bit more difficult as well. A lot of people are complaining about how easy the first one is. But yeah, it's very different, and it is very, very cool.
Cool. Yeah, looking forward to it.
Yeah, other than that, like, it was weird for me, like, on a personal note, just watching it, because it's the first game I've ever seen showed on stage which I've actually worked on. Like, from that perspective, man, that is weird. It's really fucking
It was actually
weird.
Oh, I bet. Yeah.
It was cool for me watching you watch the trailer.
Yeah.
Because, there was bits in the trailer where you're like, yeah, actually that's my animation. I thought of that, or like, that's my outfit. It's like, I've never been in that situation ever.
Yeah.
It was kind of cool. Weird. Yeah. It was cool to see you, because it's like, it's like the fruit of your labor, right? You've been working so hard in this game. It's like you actually finally get to see it shown, and it's like, oh yeah. And so, that was cool. It was cool to watch your reaction to it.
Yeah, it was very interesting. I mean, just like one sequence, like one of the kids called the human kite flies up, and it like goes into space, and then he fires lasers down and stuff, and like it comes out, it just fucking explodes like the battlefield. Like, that whole sequence, like, I came up with the concepts for all that, and me and the lead designer actually made it in 3D, and we got it into the game, and we worked on all the illustration, and we did it all basically between two of us. Like, two people worked on that sequence. And just to see, like, they showed that at E3, it was just like, fuck yes! Like, it was a nice little moment, But that's just
definitely
well done, man. Seriously, well done. It was really cool.
Shit, man, the game isn't out yet. Don't congratulate me until it's out and it's doing well.
The next time, Nick, you're on might be a little awkward.
Yeah, fuck you, man.
So Nick, what have you been playing? I picked up a fractured butthole, and it kind of sucks.
Yeah, awkward. Oh, well, at least it looks good. That's all that matters, right?
Oh, of course, yeah. Looks very good.
But yeah, anyway, moving on to For Honor. For Honor was shown again. Only a little bit this time. But yeah, still hyped for it. It looks great. I actually got to play this on Thursday. I walked into the office, and we actually had a build on one of our computers. And so I played the E3 demo, and it's actually a lot of fun.
Awesome.
It's actually
awesome.
Yeah, it looks great. It plays great. It's very simple but very complicated at the same time. It's basically just they give you 3-directional sort of points when you're face to face with someone locked in battle. If they swing on an upper right, it shows you that they're swinging on that upper right, so you can block with that upper right. So it's really it's a lot slower paced, but it's all about the multiplayer. Unfortunately, Evan, it's mainly about multiplayer. So I'm sorry, man.
Which really, really sucks, because I like pretty much everything about this game. I like the look. The combat looks cool.
Yeah.
The concept of the game is awesome. Like, I can't believe no one has ever thought of this.
Yeah. I mean, why not,
before.
right? I mean, after watching like Deadliest Warrior or whatever, all them documentaries of like Vikings fighting a samurai, it's like, why has no one made this game? It's crazy. But now they have.
Yeah.
But saying that, they have announced a story campaign, single player, just for you, Evan.
Oh, thank you. I know you must have put in a good word. You're like, hey, I got a friend, and yeah.
Emailed the guy. I was like, yo, I've got a friend. Won't play it without the single player, but I put it in. He was like, you know what?
And
I'm on it.
within the hour, he's like, done.
Yeah, done. It's in. We'll show it E3 just for you.
We just we went into the code and we hit the
make story button.
Yeah. It's just like
you know what? That is actually an ongoing joke at work. Like we need, like every time there's a tech artist get in touch with us and they say, hey, is there any new tools that you need? Like, do you need anything for like the programs that you're using? And every single time he always replies saying, yeah, we need a make art button. That's what we need. Like, just make art.
That'd be lovely. Yeah.
Just push that button. There it is. Done. Okay, cool. I can just chill and relax.
No, it looks cool. I like the look of it, the concept, everything. Nick, how about you?
So I think the game looks awesome. I've been waiting for a game to actually make it feel like you're really swinging a sword, and that that really shows off how like mentally demanding fighting with a weapon in your hand like that would actually be.
Yeah, it does have weight to it, doesn't it?
It is really heavy.
Totally.
With the movements, yeah. Yep.
I mean, obviously, I've not played it, but like just from what people have said and the way it looks amazing. But just quickly though, I just want to say, like, is it Jason Vandenberg, the guy?
I love that guy.
The director, or whatever. Like that guy,
personality through the fucking ears that guy has. Like,
he's amazing.
Just when he came on stage with his cane, he's like, "In For Honor," and it's like, "Oh my god, this guy's epic!" And then he just suddenly switches to it. I'm the lead designer of For Honor, and he just carries on.
No,
that's awesome.
He was a Viking in a previous life.
Dude, he must have been. What are you talking about?
Sure.
Previous life? He's a fucking Viking in this life.
That passion for the game he's making, and that the story that he told like last year. That he went like in interviews and stuff, he was saying that like for years he's actually been pitching the idea for this game, and because of the martial arts and stuff that he does, he has an understanding of how this weapon combat needs to work, and he's always wanted to do it, and he's finally getting to do it. He sells it so well. You couldn't have a better person
Game's great.
Go on stage and pitch a game.
Lead design is great. Like just everything. Like that guy is hilarious as well. I'm really excited for the game. I mean, from what I played on Thursday as well, it's made me even more excited. I can't wait to get hold of the full game and just like hack away at people, basically. I'm glad that there's a story that's been announced as well, so it'd be really interested to see how they sort of mix that one up. Like some guy going in a time travel machine, like pulling people out of random ages to have Mortal Kombat. Like, yeah, could be awesome. But no idea. We'll have to see. But yeah, moving on anyway. We've got Division updates, which... cool if you play the game, but it's all good if not. What else has been shown? Star Trek VR. Who's excited for this?
I'm excited for it.
I love that beginning.
Yeah.
Well, so I'd be totally pumped to do this, but it's the fact that there's such a high barrier of entry.
Oh God, yeah.
So I'm not that probably this year I'll be able to get an Oculus Rift, but
right.
And I do know one other guy that has an Oculus, so maybe we'll be able to do it as a bridge crew
starship.
of two. Yeah. But it'd be so good to be able to be the bridge crew in the Star Trek game, but you can't expect somebody to have 5 people.
Oh God, yeah, it's a great idea.
VR headset,
Yeah, it's a great idea, but yeah, I'll never play this. I know for a fact I'll never play it.
Right. Yeah, it's too bad. I mean, it looked interesting. It was cool that they actually got one of the Star Trek cast in there to play the game, and he was like, "Yeah, it's amazing" and stuff. But yeah, it's gonna not many people are going to be able to play this game. It's unfortunate, but
totally. It was great to see LeVar Burton on stage. As a big Next Generation fan, I know some people said they could have done without that.
Yeah.
But I thought it was really cool just because he's a passionate dude.
Oh, he seemed genuinely passionate about the project, so
exactly.
Best to bring him on, right?
Cool.
Yeah. Next game that was announced was obviously Grow Up, which is a sequel to fucking hell, I can't even remember the name of it anymore. What was it, Evan?
Grow Home.
Grow Home. That was it. Jesus Christ.
Which I love. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I love the idea of, it was like a Child of Light, which I played and I really, really liked. I like that a huge company like Ubisoft can just make
games.
These smaller games. It's it doesn't even matter whether or not I like the game per se. Like let's just say I didn't enjoy the game, but I like that they have these smaller projects. I think it's such a cool idea. It's like we're gonna make like a stripped down, very simple 3D platformer.
Yeah.
And it's just like like a passion project or whatever. I think it's so cool. And I've heard good things about Grow Home. I haven't played it. I definitely will, because I haven't heard a bad word said about that game really.
Yeah.
So I'm happy that it had enough success to warrant a sequel. I don't know, Nick, did you play Grow Home at all?
Yeah, I played Grow Home. I did like it. It was a cool idea, but I never finished it. But still, yeah, it was cool to see that doing a second one. And in terms of Oppressor, it is cool to see Ubisoft, still publishing these cool little games like this. So yeah, they look good.
I think
that's
awesome.
one thing I always say, like because I do have to defend Ubisoft a lot, with people saying Ass Creed and Watch Dogs 2 is a lie and stuff. Watch Dogs 1 was a lie. And
Ass Creed? I've actually never heard that.
Honestly,
it kind of writes itself, but
yeah. But like when I have to defend Ubisoft, the one thing I always do defend them about is just their variety of games. Like the fact that they've got the balls to come out on stage and show these smaller experience, and pretty much every single game as well that they show is very different. Like from Assassin's Creed to Just Dance to Child of Light to fucking Far Cry to so many different games from one publisher. Like I have to commend them on that. And like Grow Home and Grow Up are obviously like a big pinnacle of that. So yeah, it's cool that they're still coming out and showing them smaller games.
Great name for the sequel, by the way. It kind of writes itself, doesn't it? Grow Up.
Yeah, definitely.
Looking
cool.
forward to
So the last thing that they showed, the last thing that we've got to talk about is Trials. They showed new Trials, which was set in the 80s in some drug trip or something. I don't even know what it was.
The worst part of it looks good, but that lead up to that was the worst part of that presser. Like I didn't get the
Jesus Christ.
It was just it was too like. Do you remember Trials they released? I think it was DLC where like you can ride a unicorn and you're a cat with a gun and fucking rain. It was like all of the memes. It's like it's too much. Like I don't like that shit.
Right.
It's so like him coming. Actually, the best part about that was when he was walking towards the stage. The guy in like the Cheetos outfit with his fucking sunglasses and hat. He just ruffled some guy's hair, and you could tell the guy was like really really pissed off.
Yeah, he was like, "Fuck! It took me hours to do my hair this morning, asshole."
Yeah. But I don't know. I thought it was a bit cheesy. Like
it was obviously a play on the Far Cry Blood Dragon DLC, which came out a few years ago now, but
which is really good.
Yeah, it's sort of like a Trials play on that sort of DLC. So it might be interesting, it might be cool, but definitely good for Trials fans. Not for me personally, but it's all good. How about you, Nick? Are you a Trials fan?
I'm not a Trials fan, so I probably won't be picking this up, but I did think the way they announced it was hilarious.
See, okay.
That was actually kind of a highlight.
We have very different tastes, man. That's all. So.
I was going to say you're probably sensing a theme here.
Sure.
But like that's that polarizing stuff that people find so cringeworthy. I always just find it hilarious when anybody's just willing to even do that.
There is that. So, yeah. There is that. So yeah, that I get that. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
Cool.
Good for people who like Trials, I suppose.
Yeah, but overall, Ubisoft conference was, it's pretty decent. Just blowout after blowout, which it's nice to see, especially when there was a lot of games coming which we knew about and we wanted to see more. EA needs to take a fucking leaf out of their book. So, yeah, definitely.
All right.
So,
I won't. I want to mention it, but I'm just guessing right now that none of us are that excited about it. Steep. They closed the presser with this Steep game, which I thought was kind of strange.
I did mess up. Yeah, it was a very strange announcement. I mean, interesting concept, but it was definitely not a show ender, I should say.
No,
Very odd.
and I mean, not for me, at least.
Yeah, not for me either. It was really, really bizarre for me. But I mean, the game looked good. I mean, like the engine and stuff, and what you do, and the idea of just doing time trials and challenging your friends, and a multitude of different ways to get down the mountains or whatever. Like, yeah, it could be an interesting concept. I need to see more of it, but very strange place to be in the actual conference. That was the only probably negative thing which I would say about Ubisoft's conference.
I don't know, Nick, what did you think about that presser closer?
Yeah, so not into Steep. I can see it appealing to people that are really into extreme sports and stuff, but
right.
I've never really been a big snow sports fan. Like if it was the same idea in a city and it was like a skateboarding game, I might be into it, but just not my thing really.
Fair
if
enough.
It was Downhill Domination 2, then I would have been excited. That PS2 game is so fucking good. I love that game. But anyways, yeah.
Cool. So yeah, overall, what did you guys think about the Ubisoft conference? Evan.
I thought it was pretty good. It's just kind of a shame on my part that like I don't have an attachment to any of these games that they showed.
Yeah,
really,
you said before.
So,
yeah. That sucks.
But I thought they did a good job. They started out rough, and I just thought like,
Right,
oh no,
dance.
are they going full like fucking weird here? But Aisha Tyler kept everything going, and yeah, I thought it was a good conference overall.
Yeah. What about you, Nick? What do you think?
I thought it was good. Like they put on a good show. I appreciated the comedy elements.
You might be one of the only few.
Sure, yeah, I understand that. But like, yeah, just cut out the Assassin's Creed trailer and a little bit too much talking. But other than that, I thought it was a good time. It was good.
Cool. So moving on, we're going to talk about Sony for a little bit. And Sony was probably the best conference for me personally, just for the sheer amount of games that they had. It was just game after game after game all night. Lots of new game announcements, lots of new footage shown of games, which we wanted to see more of from last year. So I was really excited for Sony's probably more than anything. But yeah, what did you think about it, Nick? Did you enjoy the Sony conference?
It was awesome.
Yeah.
I actually think it's my favourite, at least, E3 conference ever.
Wow.
Oh wow. Who would have thought a year ago that they could have possibly beat themselves?
If someone told me like
Exactly.
last week, like, oh, do you think they're even going to get close to what they showed last year? I would have been like, no, fuck no. Like, I would
Absolutely not. Yeah.
I'd bet both of my balls that they wouldn't even get close to what they showed last year. But
Can you do that?
They got pretty fucking close, man. They got pretty close. So yeah, no, it's a great conference. Like Evan, you enjoyed it as well, I presume.
Oh yeah, I mean, a bit of context. Like at that point, it was about 7 a.m. when Ubisoft ended, and then we'd just been up for over 24 hours. And Vin and I said, "All right, let's try to get as much sleep as possible, and then start up the Sony presser." And then we probably went to sleep for maybe less than an hour.
Yeah.
And then we got up, and it was just like, "Oh God, here we go." But then, like, it started with the God of War theme with that weird woman doing like beatboxing on the microphone and that, and then I was like, all of a sudden I was up, and I'm like, wow, it totally brought me up, and I was not tired for that whole conference, and I thought there was a half an hour left when it ended, and I was sad that it was, whereas I probably should have just been happy because I could have gone back to sleep, but no, I was ready for more.
Yeah. But yeah, like with God of War, I mean, I was really surprised by it just because of how different Kratos was more than anything, because obviously Kratos has been this one-dimensional character for so long. Now the fact that like you see this caring side to him, and he's old and he's a bit more feeble, but still obviously strong, but it had a lot more narrative in the game, which is what I was really excited to see. How about you, Nick? Like, what did you think about the showing of God of War?
I thought it was awesome. I've never actually played any God of War games properly before. Played them a little bit.
Oh, okay.
But like the gameplay is not really my thing, and like it has never seemed like there's been much of another reason except for like maybe the spectacle, which has always been tempting, but this looks like the perfect time for me to jump in because I just love that they're just making more of a real character out of Kratos.
It's a reboot. Kratos, I honestly think from looking at this trailer, and I said it at the time as well, said that kid is the new main character. They're going to kill off Kratos at the end of the first level. 1,000%. Put money on it.
Someone asked that question to one of the developers, I think. I don't know if it was a producer or what, but he said that, no, you're Kratos the entirety of the game.
Really?
Yes.
I don't believe that. I think that might be wrong.
Maybe it's a redirect.
I think he's lying. I think he's lying. I mean, developers actively lie to journos, so yeah.
Right.
I don't believe that yet.
And also, I heard that basically at this point, Kratos is immortal. So this is actually a continuation of his story, but because he's immortal, this could be like 100 years into the future, 1,000 years after what happened in God of War 3.
Right.
I don't think it's a reboot. I think it's just a continuation of his story, and but who knows, right? That's what they said, but maybe it is a redirect. One thing I do like is they kind of basically explain to the audience that like they're trying to make Kratos a more interesting character because while people have praised the God of War games, I think there's been a bit of backlash. Like Kratos isn't a very interesting character because his main character trait is being angry.
Right.
And I think in this they made a point because he kind of yells at his kid and then he stops himself and then he says it in more of just like a low stern voice. So I think they're kind of addressing that. Like, look, we know he's kind of taking flack for just being this angry asshole. We're trying to fix that in this new characterization of him, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah, no, that's the main thing why I'm excited for the game is just how that character plays. Like the mechanics look great, the graphics look great. It's Sony Santa Monica, of course that's going to be great. But the characters and the narrative is the main thing which I took away from it. So yeah, super hyped about it. Look forward to seeing more. Hopefully we see more soon. But if not, then it's cool. Them guys can take their time on it. They always make great games.
Yep.
But moving on from that, obviously we've got my most anticipated game of this year, and maybe yours too, Evan, but The Last Guardian was finally shown with a release date. We finally got a release date for this, which is October 25th. I think it's coming out. I instantly went and pre-ordered it, and I got the old special collector's edition, which I don't do often, so that I'm excited about the game.
Question. Did you order? You must have ordered that on Amazon US, correct?
Of course I did, yeah.
Because I went on Amazon Japan. They are selling it for fucking almost $300.
Are you serious? Dude,
yeah.
It's like 110.
I know.
Oh, man, that sucks. Duh.
So basically,
awful.
There's no collector's edition for Japan. So basically what that is, it'd be an import from the States, that collector's edition, right?
Man,
but they're just it's ridiculous, yeah.
That really sucks.
All right, well, Vin, what did you think about the trailer?
Trailer's great. Left me with more questions than it had answers, which is what I want out of a trailer, you know?
Sure, yeah.
They introduced like this second creature, which everyone sort of was taken aback by, because I think a lot of people are assuming that the Last Guardian, the actual title of the game, is talking about Toriko, the creature. And I've always said all along, I'm pretty sure it's probably just the kid who is the Last Guardian and not the creature.
Same.
So
that's what I think. Yeah,
that sort of confirmed it for me, and I was like, "Oh, okay, that's what it means." So I wasn't too shocked to see a second creature, but at the same time, like it was good to get the confirmation. But the game looks fucking great, man. Outside of the anti-aliasing, I mean, I'm super hyped for it.
It's actually interesting about the title of the game, kind of hinting at the kid possibly being the Last Guardian, because in Japan, the name of the game roughly translates out to man-eating giant eagle Toriko, right?
Yeah, that's the one.
So it's so specific. It's just like it's nothing. It's no hint of anything about some sort of guardian or any guardian being the last of a guardian. So
yeah, no, I mean the game looks great. I want to play it now. You know, it's so great to see a release date for it more than anything else. It's really cool. So yeah, how about you, man? Like what?
Yeah, sorry, go ahead, Nick. Yeah, what do you think?
I thought it was awesome. Shadow of the Colossus is one of my favourite games of all time.
Hey, fucking high five from across the internet. That's fucking right.
Last Guardian, obviously, the original trailer we got was awesome. My only concern that I've ever had about the game is I hope it's not just that environment, because one of the best things about Shadow of the Colossus was the environments. And I think this trailer, it was very short, but I thought that everything they showed just proved to me that there is more variation and there is a little bit more to the game than what those first trailers showed.
No, I mean,
which is exactly what I wanted to see.
When it comes to the environment, I wouldn't be surprised if it was just the only environment, because the director of the game, Ueda, has said it multiple times that the game is a lot more like Eco than it is the Shadow of the Colossus. That being the case,
sure, but
that being the case, Eco is in one
variation
environment,
inside that space,
Oh yeah, I'm sure there will be. I mean, there's a lot of variation inside of Eco as well, and like Eco is just set inside of one castle, and if that was inside of just one castle with the same weather, and that had that much variance, and I'm very confident that it'll be just as much variance in this game as well. But how about you, Evan? Like, are you hyped to see The Last Guardian finally get a release date?
Yeah, I am, but it was one of those things where like I was really looking forward to them releasing possibly the Neo in October so that I could pick it up and play this game, but now I'm just like torn. Like, do I just bite the bullet, just buy a PlayStation 4? Because I mean, this is one of my most anticipated games, and
I'd say bite the bullet. I honestly don't think a PS4K is going to make that much of a difference to this game.
Yeah, I know.
In all honesty,
it's like you get a 50-inch TV, and then you go to your friend's house. He has like a 55, and you're like, "Well, I probably should have spent the extra money."
Well, that's the question.
Like,
your TV is that a 4K TV, or is it just standard def?
Mine's standard.
So if you've got a standard 1080p, then it's not going to make that much of a difference.
Yeah, I know. I should just buy
the bullet, man. Just get a PS4. Just get one. Just do it.
We'll see what happens at Gamescom. I'm going back to America for the summer, which I'm fucking psyched about. But when I get back, we'll see where we're at. If there's no word, I'll buy a PS4.
You should buy a PS4 while you're over there. That's what you should do.
Oh, I could do that. I could probably get a really good deal.
It'd be cheaper. It'd be a lot cheaper, and you could get some deals and get some decent games with it as well. That's my advice. But yeah, moving on from Last Guardian, which looks very cool. They showed a bit of Final Fantasy 15, but just not in the way that we wanted to see it in any shape or fucking form. Final Fantasy VR.
Yeah, in the interest of time, like, who fucking gives a who cares?
No one gives a shit about this.
Yeah, let's move on.
Yeah, it was basically just like they cut a bit out of the game and then made it VR and then shoved it in people's faces, literally. So I don't know.
Prompto, the one character I wanted to play as in Final Fantasy 15.
Right. Go on a fucking date with Cindy with tits in your face. No, sorry, fuck you, Square. Like you're an insult to the industry. Moving on, straight on to Horizon Zero Dawn, was shown a bit more of what we saw last year. Really, it was just it was more gameplay, more crazy creature robot things that might be dinosaurs, might not be dinosaurs. We don't actually know what they are anymore. But fucking hell, this game looks good. Like, I don't know about you guys, but the more I see this game, the more I want to play it. So, Nick, we'll start with you, man. What did you think about Horizon Zero Dawn's showing this year?
Yeah, I agree. It was awesome. I liked what they showed last year, and it was definitely a game I was already interested in. But just them actually delivering on the gameplay this year, seeing a lot more of that. I loved everything they showed. I think one of the smaller details that perhaps not a lot of people will be talking about is I liked that we've got a little bit more context this time. Like, there was that character that was talking about some goddess, and so like it's very clear there's some like weird religion that perhaps your character doesn't follow and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I loved the little hints of the story in there, and like that's immediately just made it a day one purchase for me.
Yeah. How about you, Evan? What did you think about it?
Yeah, it looks really good. I am not like I'm going to buy this game, and I'm probably going to buy it day one if I have a PS4 at that time. But I like it, but I don't like everyone really likes this game, and I think it looks cool. I'm going to play it, but I'm not as over the moon about it as everyone else.
Yeah, no, fair point. I think I'm right there with you, actually. I'm not like everyone's. A lot of people have given this like game of the show and stuff, obviously on Sifted, And I'm just like, really? Like, it's the same thing that they showed last year. It looks fucking awesome, don't get me wrong. It's just not, I don't think it's up to that caliber of being game of the show just from, like, the repeated sort of showing that it showed last year. But that's just my opinion, obviously. It's just our opinions.
But the game looks, I mean, to be fair, the game looks absolutely awesome. I'm going to buy it. I'm going to play it. I'm probably going to really, really like it. But yeah, I'm not on the same level as, you know, what's been everyone talking about on the internet, head over heels for it. Yeah.
Although they did show like your character hacking another robot to ride it into battle. That's pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie, that was pretty fucking awesome. Yeah. But yeah, we should probably move on to Detroit: Become Human. Obviously, this is from David Cage, who brought us Beyond Two Souls and Heavy Rain, both good games. Obviously, Heavy Rain being a bit better than Beyond Two Souls.
I like how you said obviously.
Obviously,
like
it's fucking obvious. It is so obvious. If anyone tells me otherwise, I will come to your house and drop kick you in the teeth. I apologize. But
press X to drop kick.
Press X to drop kick. But yeah,
hey, there's only one outcome in that situation, right?
What's that? I die.
I was just making a joke. Like there's like several outcomes in Detroit.
Oh, I see what you did there. But
Vin Hill will drop kick you in the teeth. There's no way you can dodge it.
Yeah, true.
All right, so
anyway,
Detroit becomes human.
Detroit. I mean, obviously this sprouted out from the whole Kara demo, which was shown fucking hell, must have been about 10 years ago to showcase the PS3's capabilities. And this whole game has sort of come out of that, which is really awesome because that's what a lot of people wanted, and not Beyond Two Souls. Sorry, again, David Cage, if you're listening, you're probably not, but fuck you. Yeah, I mean, we anyway, what did you guys think about it? I mean, there was obviously showing a lot of the choice trees stuff which was in the game, and just showing like sort of all the different outcomes you can have, and some of them are good, and then some of them are really bad, and obviously you can fail. But you know, in David Cage's sort of past, he's always give you multiple choices that don't really stop the game if you fail, sort of thing. It's like the game will just carry on. So there's always like sometimes there's multiple characters and things. So yeah, I mean the game looked cool, but more of the same from David Cage, I suspect. Like, what do you think about it, Evan?
I think it's cool. I actually thought the trailer did a very good job of kind of relaying to you the core, one of the core mechanics of most of his games, like the idea of choice and several outcomes to a certain situation. So you come into the situation and it shows you the most horrible thing, which is this young girl
that was
being
interesting,
pulled to her death, and then it rewinds it and it's like, no, that doesn't have to happen. And then it actually kind of visually it shows you this tree. It's like, here's a single instance, and then it shows you possibly what it could come, and it keeps. I just thought the trailer did a very good job of
explaining that,
showing you how it works. Android Detective sounds cool to me.
Yeah, why not?
One of the detective portions of Heavy Rain were some of my favorite parts.
Oh yeah, I love that stuff. I mean, a lot of people complained about it being a bit too meticulous, about you have to turn the handle of a car and stuff. But like in the detective moments, they were really cool. I actually really enjoyed them moments. So
I'm pretty sure they're going to get away from that type of thing. It's like Uncharted, like moving your PlayStation 3 controller in the original Uncharted to like turn a lever or whatever. That's like they'll scratch that stuff off the board, but the general premise I'm interested in. I just wish the game was called Detroit. I think it'd be more badass if it was
Detroit Becoming Human. That's a bit too
like,
whatever.
No, just Detroit. It doesn't just Detroit. The name of a city sounds good to me. I don't know, Vin. Nick, what did you think about it?
Yeah, I think he looks awesome. I've never really. I'm into the idea of those David Cage games, but I'm way more into the idea of science fiction and androids. It just seems like the perfect combination to me, and the story seems great. The voice acting seems great, and the graphics really sell it. And just that scene that they showed just felt so high stakes, it was awesome. I can't wait to be, put in that position to be making all these huge decisions in the story.
Yeah. Just Android Detective. It just, I really hope that you're that guy for the entirety.
Yeah, I doubt it, but like even in that moment, I'll be happy. Yeah, you're obviously going to play as Kara, the main character, as well. So
yeah, maybe you play as several androids. So actually, that would be equally as cool. Yeah.
Oh, I think they've said that there are several androids, and
really?
there are several characters, and that all the characters that you play as are all androids.
That's
Awesome.
cool. That actually makes that makes sense because you could
Perfect.
tell several stories of this whole dynamic between androids and humans and androids in different places in the world and how cool to me. Sounds cool.
Cool. So moving on to probably the biggest surprise of the whole of E3, especially for me personally, was Resident Evil 7. Because obviously they showed off the whole demo in VR, which looked very impressive by itself. But then the sort of reveal that it was actually Resident Evil 7 at the end completely threw me off. And I know it threw you off as well, Evan, because we were both sat next to each other, as our hilarious reaction can be floating around on the internet right now, which you can go and look at. But yeah, what did you think about it, Nick? Did you like expect Resident Evil 7 to come back in this sort of way? Because obviously this was in the introduction where you said, you wanted Resident Evil to go back to its original roots. But like, what do you think about this version of it? Are you happy about seeing it this way?
Very interested to hear what you're about to say, Nick. Please.
Yeah, so
Look garbage.
Resident Evil is definitely my favorite game franchise.
Okay.
I complete those games all the time. Like I'll play them way too much. I completed one, like the first one a couple of days ago. I think I completed 2 the day before E3.
Yeah.
This looks awesome. I'm sure the listeners will notice it's not the thing that I asked for, but I'm really excited by the idea of them just taking a drastic steps to just get Resident Evil back to where it should be, which is, the best horror franchise.
I agree. I mean, that was the main
games,
part which I wanted to get it back to, was just the horror aspect of it, because I think they really lost their way with 6, where they're like, no, this is now an action game. It's like, no, that's not what Resident Evil was. That's not why we fell in love with that series. It was the horror aspect to it. And the fact that they brought that back is awesome.
Yeah, and then Nick, in a sense, like you're saying, go back to their roots. In a sense, they kind of are going back to their roots as being this horror franchise, not necessarily in the form that you had first, envisioned, but
totally, yeah.
So,
also dropping the demo, I have played this demo so much, it's just not healthy.
How many times?
Like,
you got to give us a number.
How many times have I completed it?
Yeah.
Oh, like at least 20.
Oh my god! Wow.
You do want to play this game?
Probably
I played
more.
it once, man. I was happy.
Wow.
I basically spent 2 entire days playing the demo. And like I was on some Reddit thread where people are trying to figure out if there is anything hidden in the game. So I've actually been
that button
trying
upstairs,
to
man?
help out.
What the fuck does that button do?
Oh, so you don't know this?
No, I don't know. I'm going to go and play it afterwards, so don't spoil it.
Oh.
I will figure it out.
Oh, okay. So yeah, it's tricky. So I won't do any spoilers. One thing I will say, this might sound like a bigger deal than it is, but you'll probably still love it if you're a Resi fan out there. Like, there is an item in this game that clearly links this game to all of the other games, just like directly almost.
That's cool.
Okay. Is it Jill
Other than that,
Valentine's clothes?
people aren't finding aren't finding a lot of things, but like there are a few different endings and stuff like that.
Okay.
But yeah, and mainly I'm just like, I love the atmospheric feeling to it. I love that it's going back to horror, and I'm really excited to just find out how it connects and just experience a full game with these new puzzle mechanics that are teased in there and stuff like that. Yeah, so really excited for it.
Yeah, it looks great. I mean, it's nice. It was nice to see Sony come out with that game confidently with VR. That was a surprise in itself. But at the same time, like I was happy to see, like when I was playing the actual game demo later that night, that it wasn't all pulled back for just VR. Like, they do look like 2 very different games. Like the standalone version without VR is graphically like up there as well. So I was really happy to see that. But
well, this is one thing that I really want to bring up, and I hope this doesn't go as long as it might, but I'll try to bowl through it as quickly as possible. There's been a lot of people talking about like, well, like I just don't. This isn't Resident Evil to me, like, and what I want to bring up is, okay, so what part of Resident Evil do you like? Do you like the more action-y kind of shooting parts? Well, guess what? There's a game for you. It's called Operation Raccoon City, or the up-and-coming game that nobody asked for, Umbrella Corps, right? It's like, oh, is
I already knew what you were going to say.
Yeah. Is that not the Resident Evil? You don't like that direction of it? Well, do you like more of like the old school Resident Evil? Well, guess what? They remade the first one, an HD remaster of the GameCube remake. And you know what? That was 2 years old. Is that a little too old for you? They remade Resident Evil 0. And guess what? If you know, the darling of the series, Resident Evil 2, they're fully remaking that game. So if you like the older games, those are for you. Well, do you like Resident Evil 4? Most people do. Guess what? There are games that balance the tension of the series and also the kind of run and gun kind of gameplay. Just like Resident Evil 4 did. They're the Revelations games. Those games are really, really good. So it's like every possible way you could mix what Resident Evil is, those games are already all available. So I don't understand this idea of people saying like Resident Evil 7 doesn't feel like Resident Evil. Take your pick, because every other option out is already available for you to play. So take a risk and go do something different, because all those other games are already available.
I agree. I mean, when I see games come out, especially like in 2016, I want to see something new. I don't want to see the same stuff over and over again. That's why I'm hyped about The Last Guardian. That's why I'm hyped about Horizon Zero Dawn. That's why I'm hyped about the new Resident Evil, because it's different. You know, I don't want to see the same thing over and over again. That's not why I love games. You know, I want to get new experience, new games. And you're right. Like, there's so many different types of Resident Evil game available to you right now on your current gen system that you can't complain. You shouldn't be able to complain. Just the sheer amount of options that you've got. It's crazy to me. Yeah, and you're totally right when you say that as well.
Yeah, I totally agree with both of those statements. You know, anyone who's been a fan of Resident Evil from day one is used to the series changing by this point, and there's enough variety out there for everyone.
Yeah,
there is, and like, how many series have that much variety? You know, the one that's more about the horror, the one that's more about the survival, the one that's more about the action. They have all of those games out there already. So take your pick. Yeah. What kind of Resident Evil game do you like? They're out there. And guess what? You're getting a brand new one that focuses strictly more so on the horror. That game is coming out. So you'll have even more options, you know, in January 2017.
Yep, I'm very excited for it. It looks really, really cool. Okay, moving on. Speaking of zombies, could say, Days Gone. Obviously, you had this in your picks for predictions on the Big Bada Boomcast, Evan. Huge new IP from Bend Studios, all about zombies. We saw a crap ton of gameplay. And just, like, when I first saw this, when they first showed it at the conference, like in the first half of it, it was like, oh, man, it kind of looks like The Last of Us. It doesn't look that different. I mean, it looks like an action-adventure game. Oh, that's cool, whatever. And then they moved on, and then they got to the end of the conference. Oh, we're actually going to talk about Days Gone again. And I was like, oh, really? We're going to see more of that? But then the second that they started showing the crowd systems with the zombies just running at you, I was instantly like, I want to play that game. And I mean, straight away, I was just like, that's impressive. How the fuck did they do that? Yeah. And just the sheer amount of zombies just run at you as this guy's like plowing them down. And they did say in post interviews as well, like the amount of damage that you do on the zombies is actually a lot lower in the actual game, but they just did that for like showcasing purposes. So you don't just take them out in one bullet sort of thing like they showed in the demo.
Oh, and that guy he had like unlimited ammo.
Infinite bullets, as well. So they actually rectified that afterwards and said, yeah, it's actually like that. It's going to be a lot more tense when you're actually playing the game. That was just for E3 purposes. So that makes me even more excited. I mean, Nick, what did you think about this game, man, just from that standpoint?
So what's really funny about this game is that there was like 2 levels of hype for me watching the reveal, because I love motorbikes. I love like biker culture and stuff. I find that stuff really interesting. I'm actually kind of saving up for a motorbike at the minute. So just like showing a dude riding into the sunset on a Harley, I was like, I'm buying this game. Sold. I'm getting it. And then seeing that it was like the zombie apocalypse, so I was like, holy shit, that is awesome. The idea of being like an outlaw biker, I think, would make an awesome open world game anyway. but it being in like some kind of weird apocalyptic scenario, and like the setting, like where it is, the fact that it's all just out in the country, just love it. Just totally sold on the idea, and I wasn't expecting to be this excited for this game, because I'd heard the rumours about what Bend were doing, and I'd heard that it was going to be like a driving based zombie game, and that didn't excite me.
We didn't get any of those rumours.
I didn't hear any of those rumours. Yeah.
So I heard that, and that didn't excite me. But seeing this just sold 100%.
Yeah. Speaking of games that we weren't expecting in any shape or form to look good anyway, was Call of Duty. Call of Duty was shown, and obviously this was deemed like one of the worst rated YouTube videos ever. I think it's like second next to the Baby Baby song by fucking Justin Bieber. I'm not even kidding. That's fact right there. And this game looked fucking horrible. It looked bad. It didn't look that good. Graphically, it wasn't that impressive. Just didn't look like a good game whatsoever. It looked like the same crap over and over again. But then the E3 demo, which they showed, I was totally blown away by it. I was like, holy fuck, where did this come from? This was not what... Why didn't they show this in their trailer?
Yeah, this should have been the first showing of this game.
Yeah. I mean, well, what did you think about it, Evan? Obviously, because like you're not into multiplayer shooters normally, but this obviously got a single player. Like, are you excited for this game?
Yeah, I don't play competitive multiplayer. We've been through this already. I don't like modern military shooters either. Of course, Advanced Warfare is not a modern military shooter, but I don't care about Call of Duty.
Right.
Never have, but never will. Maybe not, because I watched this trailer and it's interesting to me. This game looks really fun.
Yeah.
And Shane talked about this on the recent E3 kind of reaction game face, where I just loved the idea of he's on the ship, you're on the ship, and then you jump in a smaller ship, and then you go into a battle where you jump out of your ship and you're grappling between like floating debris, and then you go into an enemy ship and like kill everyone, and then like depressurize and like plant a bomb, and then you jump out of the ship, get in a smaller ship, and watch it blow up. It looked so cool, and it looked really, really fun. So good on them for convincing someone who hasn't cared about Call of Duty ever.
Right. Yeah, that's an achievement. How about you, Nick? What did you think about it?
I loved it. I think the easiest way to sum this up is the fact that I've not bought a Call of Duty game since Black Ops. Like, I loved the series up until that point, and then I just got bored of it, and I'm buying this game. Like, it's like I said earlier with the Detroit game. I did actually love Fahrenheit, but yeah, not relevant really. But like with the Detroit game, it's like the sci-fi set, like a game like that in the sci-fi setting is what's selling me that game. This is exactly the same for Call of Duty. It's like, yeah, give me that awesome, robust shooting mechanics that they've had nailed for years in a science fiction setting that looks like a fully realized world potentially. Yeah, I'm all down for it.
Right, and by the way, Vin, we've talked about this, right? 2013, year of the bow. You got Crysis 3, Tomb Raider, etc. 2016, year of the grappling hook.
It is. We saw Titanfall 2 with it. We saw Infinite Warfare with it. There's been a
Uncharted 4.
Uncharted 4, Overwatch. There's too many games with grapple hooks, man.
Yep.
What is it next year? Year of the fucking parachutes? I don't know. Anyway. Speaking of flying around seas.
That's exactly it.
Speaking of gliding around, Insomniac announced a new Spider-Man game, which was very cool. I loved Spider-Man Web of Shadows, and this is very much in the vein of that. So I'm really hyped to see a new Spider-Man game, especially out of Insomniac of all people. How about you guys? What did you think about it, Evan?
I'm a massive Spider-Man fan. Used to read the comics when I was a kid. Used to draw pictures of Spider-Man all the time. Yeah, Spider-Man 2. It's kind of old hat. Like, everyone talks about Spider-Man 2 because it was such a good game.
Yeah.
It looks like they're making a good Spider-Man game again, and it's Insomniac, and they've had a bit of practice with kind of more open world type games when they made Sunset Overdrive, where you're kind of bopping around this world and using, your platforming, and you're using the environment to kind of move through the world. So It looks cool. However, that suit design is fucking terrible.
It's pretty bad, man.
I absolutely hate it. I get the idea that they're trying to put a stamp on it. Like, I think Matt brought this up. He said, look, Insomniac wants people to look at this outfit and say, that's Insomniac Spider-Man.
Right, yeah.
I get that, but that fucking white spider...
it's pretty bad.
It's just bad. Yeah, I don't like the suit. I'm guessing you could probably change the suit to like classic Spider-Man or 1960s Spider-Man.
I'm guessing so. There's probably going to be multiple things you can choose. But,
right, so it's not that big of a deal, but it looks cool. It looks cool. Yeah. What do you think,
How about
Nick?
you, Nick?
So I'm also a massive Spider-Man fan. Read the comics as a kid. I even drew my own Spider-Man comic where he teamed up with Wolverine.
Awesome.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
I would love to be able to find that now. But anyway, like just the fact that we have an awesome developer making a Spider-Man game just makes me so excited. What I saw didn't blow me away, and I hope you can change the costume, like you said, because I'm not sold on the costume. Like, yeah,
I'm guessing like they have to if they have any.
Exactly, yeah.
Like sense, yeah.
But if it still feels like a Spider-Man game, and it feels like you are Spider-Man, and I also, just a quick side note, like I would love it if we also get to feel like Peter Parker at some point in the story.
Yeah, that could be interesting.
Yeah,
interesting.
But yeah,
the thing that I took away from that trailer. The thing that I took away from that trailer more than anything was just the potential that it's got. You know, it's got a lot of potential just to be a great Spider-Man game, especially from the pedigree of the publisher, the pedigree of the developer. You know,
exactly.
Like I know laughing matter. You know, you can't. Yeah, I mean, Ratchet and Clank. You got fucking Sunset Overdrive. Great developer. Hopefully, the game would be as great as its previous titles. So yeah, really looking forward to that and seeing what comes out of it. But the one of the last things that we want to talk about is obviously PlayStation VR. They had a bit of a presence this year. It was finally announced with a release date, which it is coming out at $3.99 US dollars on October. I don't even know. October. What was it?
What I'm looking at
October
is 13th.
October 13th. That was it. So it's out on October 13th, 2016 at $400. They obviously had a lot of showing points for it. They had Farpoint VR. They had Batman Arkham VR. Star Wars Battlefront X-Wing got announced, which is huge for Star Wars fans. And obviously we had Resident Evil 7, Batman 7. Resident Evil 7 shown as well for VR, which, you know, they've got quite a strong lineup. I was actually quite impressed by how many big games they've got. So, like, how do you guys feel about VR going into it after this E3, Evan?
Well, I think when we were watching the presser, I was looking on Twitter, and there's a couple people saying like, "Oh, so I guess I'm buying a PlayStation VR now, huh?"
Right? Yeah.
Which kind of yeah. So, well, I thought they would actually show more VR, like dedicate more time to it. They had some heavy hitters, and so if you're going to sell VR, Batman Arkham VR sounds pretty fucking cool. Yeah. Star Wars Battlefront, yeah. Resident Evil 7, yeah. All of those seem like massive.
That's how you sell a headset.
Yeah, that's how you sell a headset. I'm just curious because they say that they're going to have 50 launch titles, but they didn't. The only thing about the presser is like they didn't really focus on VR as much as I thought they would. And then the next thing they showed was Call of Duty, and then even you and I we looked at each other like, is this VR or what?
Is this VR or not? Yeah.
Although that it was good that they kept going trailer for trailer and they didn't have a lot of people on stage, they kind of needed to break that up a bit more, I think. I think they needed someone to come on to start and stop VR.
Yeah, let's talk about VR or whatever.
It was a bit confusing.
Yeah. How about you, Nick? What do you think of it?
So I'm already sold on VR. I've tried VR.
So this is like the cherry on top for you then?
Basically, yeah. Like I've tried VR several times. My only concern with PlayStation VR has always been the fidelity, because I have spent a lot of time with the Oculus Rift. Like I know how good that is. I'm already sold on that. The Vive is amazing, but it's just too expensive. However, if PlayStation are delivering these robust experiences, then I'm in. I mean, it's like I have to get one for Resident Evil now anyway, so we know that's a given.
Oh, of course, yeah.
It's just the law now. But also, like, if I get to be Batman too, it's like, holy shit. Well, I guess I just have to do it. That's it. No choice.
Sure. Yeah, it looks cool. I mean, Yeah, I'm not completely sold on VR yet, but it's pushing me towards it. You know, that boat is getting pushed out. So yeah, hopefully we see more cool stuff in the upcoming months up to its release. So the last thing that I actually wanted to talk about, other than, well, I don't actually really want to talk about it, but other mentions, obviously Crash Bandicoot Remaster was shown, and all the fans were trolled hardcore with Crash Bandicoot Skylanders. That was hilarious. Like Liam in our chat wasn't too happy. Tomb Raiders from Sifted wasn't too happy when it got announced. He was very excited to see, oh yeah, finally a Crash Bandicoot, and then it was Skylanders, and he was like, no. Like
I can't believe they did that. Like
that was hilarious, man.
Did they not realize that would happen? That's like Final Fantasy VII, like releasing for the PC type trolling.
Yeah, but you know what? Next year we're probably going to get a fucking Crash Bandicoot game, aren't we? That's the sad thing about it all. I'm not a Crash Bandicoot fan, by the way, but yeah, they were good in the day, but not anymore.
They had their time, yeah. I don't understand.
That ship has sailed, man. Let it sail away, sort of thing.
I don't understand the fervor for it now. I don't get it.
Yeah, we obviously saw a bit more of Lego Star Wars. Pretty much more of the same. Looks cool. Looks like a Lego game. You know, I'm happy for the fans. I'm not really going to pick it up, but does look cool. But the last thing I wanted to talk about was obviously there was only a few people on stage. There was obviously Sean Layden, the CEO of Sony, and then we've got, not the CEO, Sony North America CEO. Yeah, that was it. I was getting somewhere. Andrew House obviously came on to talk about VR a little bit. But then the only other person that came on was obviously Kojima. Kojima was brought on stage to talk about his new game, which was the most
well, Nick, what do you
bizarre trailer I have ever seen in all my life. I walked away from it a bit confused, a bit dazed, a bit like I was coming down off some crazy drugs. But what do you guys think about it? What did you guys think of Death Stranding, Evan?
Oh, I thought it was cool. I mean, finally, Kojima is free from Metal Gear and can do his own thing. And, you know, like, as crazy as Metal Gear is, it's kind of grounded in reality to some extent. Mm-hmm. I like the fact that this story is completely, possibly, right, different. It's like alternate,
it's not,
like, yeah,
that's not realistic whatsoever. Yeah. No, you're right.
And I was actually listening to a podcast, and they brought up a great point where that trailer is basically a giant metaphor for his breakup with Konami, because he's stranded on this beach. He's got the handcuffs finally off. He picks up his baby and starts crying, the baby being Metal Gear, because it disappears.
That's a good fucking point. Yeah.
Yeah. And then when it was basically like ripped away from him, and he's stranded on this beach. He's stranded from his home that he's known for so long. And then he stands up, and there's 5 figures literally hanging over his head. How many Metal Gear games were there? There were 5.
That's a good point.
I'm guessing he might have put that stuff in there, and it's conveniently part of the story as well. But I just like the fact that it's so different. And this game could literally be anything. And I just, it's like, I'm intrigued. That game is not coming out for like at least 4 years though.
Oh, dude, 2020 maybe, if you're fucking lucky. Yeah. I don't know. How about you, Nick? What do you think of it?
I thought it was awesome. Kojima is one of my favourite developers. And also, this is controversial, one of my favourite storytellers.
That is controversial. Did you play Metal Gear Solid 2? Did you? Yeah, did you play it and enjoy it?
That's the thing. Like, I just love the weirdness. Like, I love that he's just totally willing to go there. But that aside, like, I loved Sony's treatment of him, like treating him like video game royalty, because I mean, it is cool. You know, like that was really cool.
Yeah.
And then the trailer itself, all I can really say about that is, I thought it was awesome that he is finally being given total creative freedom to create something that is probably more his own creative style than we have ever seen before. And seeing that manifested in this trailer, it was just awesome to see like what the potential could be, you know, just for the setting and the style of this game.
Yeah,
Right.
I mean, when I was watching it, like the whole time I knew, the second that he came out on stage, I knew it was just like Sony getting some good boy brownie points. You know, they were like, "Oh, look how cool we are! Look, we're really welcome, and we do this for our developers. We're cool guys." I understood it was that, but at the same time, I actually really appreciated it. Like at the same time, I was like, "That is cool." Like I know like this is a really cheap like sort of like cash in on your good guyness, you know, but it was well deserved at the same time. So. Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely intrigued. We're probably not going to see the game for a fucking long time, man. We're not going to play. I'm not going to get to even touch the control of that game in my control until 2020 at least.
Right. I mean, they brought Norman Reedus in like March to shoot that.
Yeah, I mean that Kojima hasn't even got an engine yet. Put it that
Yeah.
way. He's still doing engine tours. Like that game doesn't exist in a playable form in any shape or form. So yeah, it's going to be a long time, but it's cool. It's good to know that Kojima's back and working on something new. Maybe it might be that same game with Norm Reedus again. We're not too sure, but yeah, looking forward to it. It's always nice to have Kojima on in the industry making games. So yeah, always cool.
Yeah, always good to have him around to make our nightmares into reality.
Yeah, could say that. But yeah, overall, I thought Sony's press conference was probably the best out of everyone's. Just for the sheer amount of how snappy it was just game after game after game. Even though it was shorter than most, I think it was the shortest press conference they've ever done, they said. But at the same time, it just felt like it just felt like it was longer. And I didn't want it to end, even though we were like deprived of sleep and we were hungry and shit. Like just the whole time, I just didn't want it to end. Just how many games were getting shown. So yeah. Hat out to them all around. How about you, Evan? What did you think about it?
Oh no, I thought it was good, and like I said before, like I was really really tired, and I thought I would have to keep myself awake to watch this thing, and it completely picked me up. And I think even at some point we were like, oh yeah, we got about 25 minutes left of this presser, and then it ended, so I wanted more. Definitely the whatever winner, it's all arbitrary, but yeah, I would say they won. They had the best showing in terms of pressers.
How about you, Nick?
It was amazing, and it's the best press conference I've ever seen. Perfect length, perfect balance between talking and showing gameplay. They actually delivered emphasis on showing real gameplay, and as a sound guide, like that orchestra was incredible. It sounded amazing, and it's just such a classy move, you know.
Yeah, that does need to be mentioned. The fact that they had a live orchestra, like orchestrating every single song throughout the whole conference, that's insane. Like all the Last Guardian music, while we were watching it, I didn't realize, but it was actually the orchestra doing all that.
Oh, yeah.
It was crazy. It was awesome. So, yeah, very cool conference from Sony. The last thing that we're going to talk about, though, is not so much Nintendo, because Nintendo didn't really have a showing, but Zelda did. So we're just going to talk about Zelda for a couple of minutes, and then we're going to end the old podcast. But yeah, I want to get your impressions of it. Evan, did you watch any of the Zelda stuff? Because obviously that was the day after Sony's conference. What did you think about Zelda?
I watched the trailers several times. I watched the first 20 minutes of the opening gameplay. Watched a couple other videos.
Yep.
I like the way it looks. I like because it's basically a Wii U game, right? So it's
unfortunate, but
the art direction and the aesthetic, it lends itself well to Zelda. So a lot of people complaining about that. I really don't care about that. I'm more concerned with like gameplay and this new open world direction that they're giving the Zelda games. This game, and I just if the game's fun and there's shit to do in the world, then I'm excited. But I'm a bit surprised that it's been getting all of these Game of the Show awards, and I think it's just like Nintendo syndrome where it's like there hasn't been a Zelda. This game's been in development for like 5 years, and I don't know. I just think people have rose-colored glasses when it comes to Nintendo at points, and the game looks good, but there's nothing. The only thing that's new about it is that they're putting open world in a Zelda game. Everything I'm seeing in the game itself has been taken from other games.
True. I mean it's not. It does look great. Do not get me wrong. Like I don't complain about the graphical fidelity.
It's very pretty. It's a very beautiful
game. I look at it and I'm like, I've played this game before. Like either in Zelda or a different game. That's my only issue that I've got with it. Really, And I mean, Nintendo make fucking 10 out of 10 games, don't get me wrong, so I'm sure the game is going to be great. I'm not saying it looks bad, it's just the world sort of looks a bit empty at times, even though it is huge. And a lot of the open worldness of it, it's like, I mean, I could go and play Skyrim, you know, and do that instead. I mean, do I have to do that in a Zelda game? Not necessarily, but, you know, I mean, the game looks great. Don't get me wrong, I think it looks beautiful. I think the mechanics are all there. And, yeah, it's... I needed a bit more to be new for me, really. Like, what did you think about it, Nick?
I thought that it looked amazing.
Right.
My favorite Zelda game is the original Zelda game on the NES, and the reason for that is because that game, especially at the time, like it felt so much like a real adventure. From a game design perspective, just opening the game just in a forest, you don't get told anything. You just wander into a cave, some guy gives you a sword, and you're just in the world. And I love the idea that this game really feels like the original vision fully realized for the current generation of consoles.
Right.
And it looks like it will feel all over again. Like you really are on an adventure and you really are struggling to survive in this world. Graphically, I think it looks awesome. And some of the new mechanics, I know like it's not the kind of thing that Zelda fans will be used to in some ways. But I'm sold on it all though, you know. And
yeah, it's like, oh my god, Link can finally jump. Like you have a dedicated jump button. How novel for 2016. I'm actually really, really happy about that though. Like he can finally.
Yeah, I'm happy about it, but it should have happened a long time ago.
Yeah.
But I mean, you can snowboard with your shield in this game. Enough said.
There you go.
My main problem with the game is that it's the same thing again. Like not just like gameplay mechanics, but it's like, oh, the Master Sword's in a forest. Oh, Zelda's gone missing again. Oh, I bet I know who's taken her again. You know, it's just like it's the same premise of the story. Like I would have liked to see a bit more like in the core mechanics. It's nice to have all these little extras. Like people are always saying like, oh, the new cooking system, or oh, you can snowboard on a shield, or have you seen the size of the world? It's like, yeah, that's all cool. That's all like that's the side bits though. Like what you need to edit the core of the game, which is the story, the characters. Like why can't Link talk? I know that's like a big no for Zelda fans, but I'm sorry, but there isn't that many Zelda fans out there buying Wii U's right now. So you need to broaden your market, sort of thing. Like I don't know. Like I've got a lot of things that I could complain about with this game, but at the same time, it does look stunning, and I do want to play it. But it's just too bad because I never will play it, just because it's on that system.
So
maybe the NX will be
an NX, right?
I mean,
yeah, maybe the NX will be great. But
I'm definitely getting it. Of course, I'll play it on the Wii U. I'm totally looking at the game. It's like this game will run fine on the Wii U, no problem. Yeah. I don't need an NX to play this game. So
yeah, you're right.
Actually,
but
Nick,
I just hope that the NX is good for that reason. You know.
Yeah. But it's so weird because, like that book with the eye on it that Link has, it's almost like an actual tablet, and so you use your tablet to do things in that game. So like, what is the NX going to be, right?
Yeah,
like it has to have that type of gameplay.
Too many questions. Yeah, I don't know.
But Nick, it was actually interesting what you said when you talked about the original Zelda. The font of the Japanese title for Breath of the Wild is the same font as the first Zelda game.
Yeah, awesome. I saw that.
I actually also have heard...
They're conscious of that kind of idea of connecting it back to the first game.
Yeah, that's awesome. I've also heard that like some of the original game art, it might have actually been that was on one of the cartridges. Actually just shows like Link standing on a hill and looking at the horizon, and apparently there is like some promotional screenshot for the game that basically looks the exact same, but obviously now that's what the gameplay actually looks like. Yeah,
I think it was in the original. It was like original artwork for the first game. Yeah. So they're basically harkening back to, you know, some aesthetic and whatever. The original idea of the game is present in this new Zelda game. So I'm excited to play it, but I don't know. I'll wait. I will buy it, but people yeah, I don't know.
I mean, if I had the console, I would buy it right away. That's the main thing that really, really annoys me more than anything else about Nintendo. Is the fact that they make such fucking amazing games and then make the worst console that it goes on. You know, it just annoys the crap out of me because because if the NX is bad, I'm not going to buy it and I'm not going to be able to play this game. And that's what makes me angry more than anything.
So
I really hope it's great for the fans, but
I will say, like, for the record, I wouldn't actually consider myself the biggest Zelda fan. However, I did buy a Wii U expecting to be able to play Zelda. I still love my Wii U. I like the games I have on it. However, I have heard that it is a little rough on the Wii U. Just from what people have got.
Did they say that?
Like, yeah, I think like specifically, I think like Carl Bossman mentioned it on the Easy Allies thing. He said like that you can kind of see some of the like rough textures and stuff that like it probably will be way better on the NX. And if it really is, they're gonna like I'll buy an NX to play the best version of that game.
Which is crazy because that means you bought two systems in order to play one game, which doesn't make any sense.
No.
I mean, that's what annoys me about Nintendo, like how little of a fuck they give about that stuff, you know? Like, this game is probably almost done, in my opinion. You know, the amount of mechanics that are in that like E3 demo,
I agree,
the amount of stuff that they showed, that game is almost done. That is stuck in the Nintendo vault for the next 12 months just so it can release on the NX, just to give that console a better chance. You know, that is sickening to me. Like, I really hate the fact that has happened. And no one's going to admit that. And all the fans are going to obviously, you know, tell me over and over again, like, oh, that's not what they're doing. They said this. And of course they said that. Like, they're not going to say, yeah, the game's done. We're just going to hide it away for a year.
Yeah, like,
enjoy your Wii U.
I would
they're
love...
not going to say that.
Like, my Wii U, I don't really have much to play right now. And the only game I could look forward to would be Paper Mario Splash or whatever it's called, and
you don't like that
necessarily
game, right?
I'm not necessarily interested in that game, so it would be very nice if I could play Zelda, you know, this year.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I think
Wii U
like
something to do, you know.
Maybe I'm just a total fool, but I'm totally okay with it. Like, games are the hobby that I choose to spend my money on, and the reason I buy every console when I can is just to experience those games, you know. It's all about the games for me, and if there's a better way to experience a game, that's the way I want to go, and I feel comfortable with spending my money on it, which a lot of people obviously aren't, which is totally understandable.
I mean, I've always had this 5-game rule. I need 5 exclusives on a console before I get it. Otherwise, it's not worth the money to buy that console, sort of thing. That's just me. But at the same time, with Nintendo, I just do not want to be stuck with this massive Wii U gamepad. Like, that console, just everything about it just offends me.
Oh,
as a gamer.
I could give you five games off the top of my head, starting with Captain Toad
games.
Treasure Tracker.
Oh, fucking don't you start again.
Yeah, I mean,
but yeah, like, it has got great games on it, but I just refuse to buy that system just because of how little they are supporting it. You know,
of course, I totally understand.
I've got no confidence in it. So, yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I mean, hopefully the NX is good so I can actually have an excuse to actually fucking play this game, because Zelda does look really good and I really want to play it, but I can't because of the system that is currently announced for. Hopefully the NX isn't just another repeat of that. Right. But we will definitely see. But yeah, anyway, coming up to the end of the podcast, what I wanted to do instead of doing our content call-outs, I actually wanted to get what your game of the shows were from each of you guys, and I'll give mine, obviously. We'll start out with you, Nick. What was your game of the show for E3 2016?
I feel like I might even not have to say it at this point. I'm sure everyone's probably already guessed. But
just say it.
Resident Evil 7.
There it is.
No.
Yeah, just seeing.
I'm just as surprised as when I first saw the trailer.
Yeah, I mean that trailer was awesome. One of the best game trailers I've ever seen. The way they revealed the logo was awesome. The design of the logo is awesome. Seeing it come back from the dead, returning to their roots of horror. As somebody that sold on VR, getting to play it in VR as well, it is so good. And also, like, even if this wasn't a Resident Evil, I'm a huge horror fan anyway, and I think it looks like a game that could stand on its own feet as a horror game just based on the demo. So Yeah, no question.
Resident Evil 7. Cool. How about you, Evan? What is your game of the show 2016?
I'm a bit torn because in terms of just like how memorable something was, it has to be Resident Evil 7. I mean, you saw it in the reaction that you and I had, and I'm being a bit hypocritical because I basically said I don't want to see any more zombie games.
Yeah.
But
and then you get one. Now you
yeah,
want
and
it.
then I get one, and then I'm completely head over heels with it. But there's not necessarily a promise of a good game there, right? Like it totally could be. So in terms of being surprised and just like my most memorable moment of E3, it has to be Resident Evil 7. But game of the show for me has to be Dishonored 2 because
fair enough. Yeah, that's a good one.
just see it like, yep, that's my game. I'm gonna play it. I'm gonna love it. So yep, simple as that. Vin, how about yourself?
My game of the show for E3 2016 was a tough one. It was a really tough one because I have one that is personal to me, which is obviously The Last Guardian. I really want to play that game. Eco is my favorite game of all time. Of course, I want to see more of it. But I knew I wanted that game before it was shown this year. There was no doubt about it. So release date doesn't really warrant a Game of the Show award, personally. So for me, I would have to give it to God of War.
Awesome. Yeah, good.
God of War.
I thought you were gonna say RE7.
I was gonna, but I got something different from God of War. Was the fact that like it was something I wasn't expecting. I knew it was going to be there, but the game just completely changed my mind about what a God of War could be.
Yeah.
I mean, just how different the characters were. They showed gameplay. The game looks beautiful. But I just want to see more as well, Like, it's a different side to God of War, which I haven't seen before. So it made me want to see more, and I look forward to seeing more. I can't wait to play that game. It just looks very different. I was expecting just to see, like, a HD up-res of another Kratos, like, going apeshit on maybe some Norse gods instead. But no, I got this intimate story from these characters which I suddenly care about, even though I've played many games with them before, and that was cool. That was a really cool moment that actually grabbed me in that way. So yeah, God of War for my E3 2016 show game of the show, I would say.
Yeah, all good picks, I would say.
Definitely.
Yeah,
cool. Just want to say a massive thank you to everyone that's been listening to the podcast. Thank you to everyone that tuned in with us on the Twitch stream. It was really cool to have you on there, especially the guys that we mentioned at the start of the podcast, maybe last episode, not last week. But yeah, massive thank you to everyone that's been listening to all our stuff over the last 14 episodes. It's really, really cool. Please continue. We really like having listeners. I know it sounds stupid and obvious, but we really do appreciate it. It's really, really cool.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I also wanted to give a massive thank you to Nick, theImpartialist. I'm sorry for this super stupid long episode that we've been doing, but
you're very welcome. It's been a pleasure as always by this point.
Yeah, again, it's the third episode, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, just wanted to sign off with our Twitters and our goodbyes. Nick, what is your Twitter and your sign off?
You can find me at theImpartialist on Twitter. I'm also working on some stuff on YouTube at the minute. It's still early days, but you can go and check out some more videos there. Just search for The Impartialist.
Cool. How about you, Evan?
You can find me at the Stand User on Giant Bomb, Twitter, and Sifted.
Cool. And you can find me on Twitter at VinHillArt. You can find some of me and my finger paintings in there from time to time. And we also now have a Twitter page for Podcast Reload. So search us on Twitter. It's just Podcast Reload, at Podcast Reload, it should be. So yeah, come and find us on there. We'll update with all the future episodes. We'll probably retweet on ours. We've just got us added anyway. But yeah, you can check us out on there. We'll update with random crap also. But yeah, massive thank you to everyone that's been listening, tuning in all over E3. It was a cool E3. It was very, very awesome. And we will definitely be at the next one, we hope. Christ. I mean, we're on episode 14 now. What's another 52, right?
Yeah.
Let's keep it going. Why not? Fuck it. Cool. Yeah, thanks for listening, guys, and we will catch you next time.